Hi guys, I'm Gentake Cosplay, aka the girl in the gingham dress, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I put together my original Lister jacket. I've already started on it, but what you'll need is obviously a leather jacket. I already did the back detail, you can see. So it's basically Wilma Flintstone, but it's not identical. There are a few slight changes. I don't know if they've done this for copyright issues or they just did it from memory. And I just used acrylic paints from Hobbycraft. They were £2 each. To make sure I got the size right, I actually did this on A4 paper first, cut it out and just kind of made sure it fit where I wanted to before I actually started painting. So the first thing I'm going to show you are the patches. I think I have all of them. I hopefully have them all. So we're going to start with the Apollo patch. This is really easy to get, quite cheap. Then we have the Space Command, which is another NASA patch. Sometimes these are quite hard to get a hold of, but at the moment I think they're not too bad. Another NASA one is this one here. I have no idea what it's called, but that's the one you need. We have the smiley face one. Because I'm a bit like obsessed with details, I'm annoyed that I can't find the one with the wink on the opposite side, which is be more accurate, but I don't think anyone's actually going to notice, so they're quite easy to get. Then we have the Sergeant one. Again, super easy, super cheap to get a hold of. Have the Tomcat. There is another one similar to it, so just make sure that you get the correct one. I don't know what the other one says, but this is the one that you need. This one is a little bit more expensive and harder to get a hold of. It is another NASA patch. I can't see what it says on there. I know McBride's one of them. If you type in NASA McBride, I think you'll be able to find it quite easily. And then we have the Rolling Stones patch. The original one I got was a bit small. This is actually the official Rolling Stones patch, which I recommend getting because it is a lot more accurate. And it's better to support the artist. And then we have these stars, and some people get the yellow star, but I like the gold just because it's a bit fancier. Next up are the badges and also the keyring. So the keyring, I mean, I'm a child of the 80s/90s, so these were like super popular in the 90s and you cannot get a hold of them anymore. I actually bought a holographic sticker. I find this is easier to get a hold of. It's a Star Trek one and I just bought a keyring and stuck it in that. The Sheriff badge. I found it hard to get one that I actually liked. A lot of them were plastic. Another one I bought was way too small, so I finally found this one and it's metal and I think it works really well. And next we have the lapel pins. Yes, these are German World War II pins, so a bit of an odd choice. Some people don't put them on, and like, I totally get if you don't want to have these on your costume, but I want to have it on for accuracy. We have the Prefect badge. I managed to find a vintage one, which I really like, but it broke like instantly. So I'm just going to glue that on. It should hopefully stay on all right. Have the Mac pin badge. These are quite easy to get a hold of still on eBay and quite cheap. What else have I got? I have the Russian pin badge. This is not the accurate one. I'm still looking for it. My friend managed to get one looking on eBay. I'm just going to check every time I can. Hopefully one will come up. But if not, these are really cheap reproduction ones and they still look good. Have the Yin and Yang sign. Again, these are so easy to get a hold of. Nice and cheap. Have the Rolling Stones little pin badge. Some people get the circle style badges, but I'm pretty sure it's one of these ones. But either way, it'll still look good. And then we have the car pin badge there. Can't remember what car that is. That's off now. Is it Honda? I don't know. One of the hard ones to get a hold of is the Harley Davidson Eagle. I thought I got really lucky with this one, but as you can see, it's tiny because I didn't look at the dimensions. So again, I'm going to look for a bigger style of this, but for now, I'm just going to use it. It looks pretty good still. Also got a little, I already had this pin anyway. It does look like it has some kind of skull and crossbones somewhere. or some kind of skull, so I'm just going to add that on there. I also have the official Red Dwarf badge. This is from the uniforms, but I kind of want to put it on the jacket because I've got it and I think I'll look pretty cool with it. The other badge that I have been looking for forever, I still can't find, so I've just made it myself from metal and just painted on with acrylic. A part of me thinks it's some kind of bike badge because you can see that it does have holes in it, and I think they've just kind of hammered it out, but I could be wrong. But that's kind of the area that I'm looking at the moment. And we also have his back star. My friend actually designed this for me, and hopefully I'm going to make it a bit bigger because I think it is a bit small, and I'm going to cast it in a kind of a more of a metal look, so it'll look a bit cooler. But again, I think that's some kind of bike badge. I'm still looking for it. Hopefully one day I will source what it is actually meant to be. And the last detail is all the little trims, just really bring it to life. So we have his bandana. Again, these are really easy to get. When I got it, it was super bright and like really like stiff. So I just kept putting it in the washing machine with my washing just to kind of give it a bit of a used look. And then I actually put it in some brown dye, just a little bit, just to kind of dirty it up. I will be using dirty down on this jacket at the end, just to give it even more grunge look to it. So if, like me, you are going to use an actual leather jacket, I recommend getting rivets rather than the spikes that you kind of put in it then, because it's not going to go through. I will show you how I'll put these in when I get to it. So this is how they look. It's basically attaches in the bottom and you just hammer it in and it just stays in place. You will need a leather punch for that. And then there's also the star decals I has as well. So that's a pyramid, and then you've got the star. You're also going to need the spikes. I think these are maybe a little bit too short. I had to buy some extra screws because I'll show you when I get to that bit, they needed to be a bit longer to fit through like 2 layers of the leather. One of the steps that not everybody does, and you don't have to, you can totally skip this step, is cutting off the sleeves. That's quite terrifying, but I'm going to give it a go. I do a lot of leather work, so I'm not too bothered about it. I think I can make a good job of it. And he basically has the sleeves cut off on one side, and it's got little, I can't think of the names of them, eyelets, that's it. So yeah, I've got them in 2 different colours. It's really hard to work out what they are, but I don't think they're the same colour, and I think it kind of works. I feel like with Lister's jacket, he's just found lots of stuff and put it together. So I'm going to do 2 different colours on different sides. To go with that, I have got some leather thonging. Again, I've got one in brown and one in black, and I'm not doing them in the exact same size, just to kind of give it that put together look. He also has the little bit of chain on his lapel, which again, I'm going to show you how to do that in more detail. I've got an idea in my head, hopefully it will work. And now I'm going to move on to actually making the jacket. I'm just cutting off one of the sleeves at the elbow, and that's how it's looking now. I didn't cut the full sleeve off, I wanted to keep the lining inside for support. And I'm going to measure around it just to work out where I'm going to place each eyelet. And once I've done that, I'm just going to make a mark where each one will go, like so. And for this, I'm going to use a leather punch, which are super handy. It's basically a hole punch, so you just punch a hole through like so. And then this means you just pop the eyelet through on one side, and on the back you just get a little ring which you hammer it into. You need a setter for this, so if you don't have one you could possibly glue it down, but I recommend buying one of these and you just hammer it down in place. This means you can thread the thonging through really easy. I've done one on the other side already. I just think it looks really cool. A nice little effect. I just tied it off at the end and used some glue as well, just to hold it in place. Next, I'm going to move on to the patches. So this is quite easy to do. You just get some glue. I'm using 60-second Loctite, which I got from the supermarket. The one thing I'll say is the fabric and the patch are shiny, so it didn't stick down very well. I recommend if you get some sandpaper just to sand it off on both sides, just to give it something to adhere to much better. You don't have to be really accurate with this either. As long as they're in the rough place, it's going to look really cool. Next is the pins. These don't pierce through very well, so I'm going to use a leather punch again, just to put a little hole through. So I'm going to use the pin to mark where I want it to be, like so. And then just put a little hole through with the punch. Some pins do go through okay, but especially on this part of the jacket, it's really thick. So I'm just doing this so it fits through better. I'm probably going to glue them in place as well, because these always fall off, as you've probably known if you've worn them before. They even fall off on Lister's jacket, as I've noticed. Next is the sheriff badge. So this will not pierce through at all, so I'm just going to put 2 holes through it, quite close together. Like so. And this just gives it something to pierce through a lot easier. And it's looking pretty good so far. I like that little kind of area. Next I'm going to add one of the rivets. He has quite a few down here. I'm using a kind of different hole punch there, as the other one will not fit there. I'm just going to put the back of the rivet through, and you can't see, but it's like a screw rivet this. So I'm going to glue this when I do them all. And it just screws in place. I know you can't see it, but it's there, I promise. The other style of rivets I have are the ones that you need to hammer in place. So they work very similar. You just pierce them through. They do clip a little bit to each other, but then you just need to get a hammer and just tap it a few times and it just sets this in place. Next I'm moving on to the lapel. This is probably the most complicated area. So I'm just going to open pop it from there. Add the holes in each side. I've actually realised after doing this that it is 3 at the top, so there's 1 at the very top as well. And I'm just going to put the longer screws through and attach the chain to this. I'm also going to work out roughly where I want it to hang to, and just kind of use some pliers to cut it off to the right length. So I'm gluing these in place as well, because they're not fitting great, so this just means they're not going to fall off. I'll do the same on the bottom, and I'm just going to drape another little piece along as well. Again, I'll show you when it's done. And this is how it looks with the extra spike added, and also the star rivet. I think it looks really cool. And I also found the committee badge and an extra car badge that I didn't have before. I just noticed these later on. For the weathering, I'm just using sandpaper. It's going to take a while to do, but just rough up all the edges of the jacket. And for the actual dirt, I'm using Dirty Down, which is just, it's just dirt in a can that you spray it on. It just ages it up a lot. This will be going over the entire jacket. And this is how it looks before all the weathering. It does look really clean so far, so I can't do that before the video ends, unfortunately. But if you follow me on Instagram, The Girl in the Gingham Dress, I will post updates as I finish it off. I will say the Russian badge, which I thought wasn't great, is actually quite good, so I do recommend getting that one now. Also, I need a bigger skull and crossbones badge and an L patch that I am missing. But everything else I think I've pretty much done. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys later.